Hello and welcome to Cliff Reviews Art House. This time I'm reviewing the documentary I Am Martin Parr, directed by Lee Shulman. So this is a documentary about the photographer Martin Parr. It's mainly about his work. There's not really much here about his life or his motivations, not really much on his methodology or working practice. I'm going to start by saying something positive about the documentary. Parr has created some interesting work, and the film does provide a comprehensive review of the decades that he's been taking photos. I personally don't love his work, but I always enjoy seeing the creative output of someone who's passionate about what they're doing. Okay, that's about all I can say that's positive. I'm not sure that this can reasonably be called a documentary. It's more like a promotional video for his work. There's no critical analysis of the work. We're just bombarded with people saying what a genius he is. Grayson Perry telling us that Parr's changed the way we look at things. Of course, there's no problem with people really appreciating his work. All of the praise for his work seems genuine and authentic. The problem for me is that I would expect a documentary to provide a bit more of a critical approach. For me, this documentary was highly flawed. Parr actually splits opinion. Some people love his work, and we hear from those in the documentary, but others find his work condescending, cruel, mocking, patronising. So let's deal with that issue. His photos do have a certain style. Much of his work is depicting working class British people, and much of his work is in British seaside towns. In the documentary, everyone's telling us about the humour in his work. The humour comes about because the images are portraying working class stereotypes. That's the truth, really. I don't think he is explicitly laughing at people. I think he feels comfortable in that world, and that's why he's spent so much of his career in it. However, in a similar way to Louis Theroux documentaries, just because he befriends his subjects doesn't mean he's not being manipulative to get the shot that he wants. In addition, many of the photos are taken without the knowledge of the subject. I definitely think that much of his work is problematic. Now, I'm actually starting to veer into critiquing his work rather than the documentary, but the point is relevant to the review, because there are legitimate issues about his work to be discussed. It is mentioned that he did eventually become a Magnum photographer and that there were many people opposed to his membership. But those who opposed his membership are too easily dismissed as being snobby, having a snobby attitude because he was covering working class themes. Even if the documentary does come down on his side, and there's no problem with that, I would have expected it to at least have the views of those who don't like his work represented, to have it explained to us why they're wrong. Another issue I had with this documentary is that much of the camera work was done in a way to compose shots like a Martin Parr photograph. I assume that this is the director Shulman's work. Yet we see Parr taking lots of photos. We do see some of these photos, but not all of them. I thought this was odd, really. I think it was interesting to actually see Martin Parr working and then to see the output of it. There's no sense of a journey in the documentary. It's a fairly straightforward presentation of his work with lots of talking heads complimenting him. There's no real development in his work. It's just more of the same. So it really felt like we were just starting to have some repetition. Even with a short length of 66 minutes, this actually started to feel long. I thought that the presentation of his work could probably have been done in 30 or 40 minutes. The day after I saw I Am Martin Parr, I watched the new Questlove documentary, Sly Lives. What a contrast. I've done a separate review on that. Now that is a documentary. It's superior in so many ways. And perhaps it's not a fair comparison. Sly and the Family Stone is a cultural phenomenon, even presented in the best light as he is in this documentary. Martin Parr isn't really a very exciting artist. But comparing this to the genius of Sly Stone, he's a real creative inspiration, and we learn a lot about his process in the documentary, how he produced some iconic music. This just wasn't the same in I Am Martin Parr. Overall, I wasn't sorry that I watched the documentary. I was happy to see a presentation of his work, but it really is little more than that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.